several weeks go by since I'd seen my mom, that morning after the guitar incident. And same thing like always. I'm out there in the streets and a homeless person would come up to me and say, "Hey, are you Arthur?" And I'd say, "Yeah." Your mom said if we see you, she told me to tell you she's staying over at this place. So then that's how we would find my mom. My mom would put the word out on the street and the homeless people would listen. Well, so I'm excited to go see my mom, thinking, yeah, I'm going to have a place to stay tonight. Well, when I knock on the door, my mom comes out, closes the door behind her, and she says to me that Gilbert's in there and that he's really sorry for what he did and he wants to apologize to me. I couldn't believe that she took him back. But something that I realized after a while was that my mom was a fugitive. And she wasn't using her own name. She was using an alias. And with the alias name, she could go to work through some, I don't know how it worked over there, but she could go to like a temporary workplace and they would put a bunch of, people like her in a van and they would take them to go work all day somewhere and they wouldn't give them cash. They would give them a motel voucher and a food voucher. And Gilbert, whatever he did, he got a little bit of cash. I don't know what he was doing, but anyway, so that's how they would get their beer and cigarettes was through Gilbert. And so my mom was telling me that, yeah, he's in there, and he wants to apologize that she forgave him. I couldn't believe this, man. I was appalled. I didn't want to go in there, but then the door opened and he walked out and he approached me and he looked very sincere when he told me he was so sorry for what he did. He was drunk or whatever. So Ricky and I reluctantly went in there and we hung out and we had a peaceful night. This happened periodically, not often, but you know, maybe once a month. In the 6 months we're homeless, and so we ended up eventually the way we got out of Los Angeles. Ricky and I saved the little bit of money that we would make on the street. See, once my guitar was broke over my head, we had no way to make that money anymore. But we still had the money from selling the joints. So we had to go back to the Hollywood Boulevard guy to buy the dollar joints. But this time we might have four or $5 now. So we took those $4 or $5, bought 4 or 5 joints, went back to the park, sold them for $2 each, went back to downtown Los Angeles, and got the bag of weed. It rolled more joints, went back, sold them at the park. This was all day long. I mean, walking from Hollywood, the Hollywood Strip in Hollywood, all the way to Los Angeles downtown, and then back to that park was an all day thing just to make, $5 or $10. But we didn't have anything else to do, so this is just what we did. This is what we had to do. We had a little bit of money. My mom and Gilbert saved up some money, and they ended up buying a $200 car, an old car, 1960 something Plymouth, just a square body. It looked all original. I remember it needed some brakes. Gilbert put brakes on it, and we got in this car, the four of us. It was just me and Ricky and my mom and Gilbert. We lost Edward and we lost Cowboy out there. So the four of us got in this little car and we started driving back to Texas. And believe it or not, that little car made the trip all the way back to Texas and never broke down. So we got back to Texas. We stayed with my grandmother. As soon as we moved back, we moved in with my grandmother. My grandmother's boyfriend didn't want Ricky there. So Ricky tried to go back home to his mom, which he wasn't welcome there. So unfortunately, Ricky ended up back in the streets. But I we moved in with my grandmother, and that's how we got back to Texas.